Hey viewers out there, let's complete the trilogy. Let's not waste any time. Top 10 tips and tricks to make you a better, more efficient, effective dealer. Let's go! Go, 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 go. How to succeed in side pots without really trying. Side pots is what really messes up beginning dealers, and it can mess up veteran dealers as well. But what has always been true for me is using the KISS method, which is keep it simple, stupid. Okay, don't make it as complicated as it has to be, because many times you don't have to do anything. So let me show you real quick. First, let me apologize. I could not find my poker set. When we moved, everything is everywhere. I just couldn't find it. So it really doesn't matter. This is just for illustrative purposes. So we're just going to use pennies, okay? But it doesn't matter. Use chips, whatever, okay? All right, you got 4 donkeys at the table, okay? And they just go all in, okay? All in, all in, all in, all in. All right? Now, you could be one of those dealers that frustrates everybody by going, what do I do here? 3 and 3. Well, 2 is smaller than 3, and then 2 here, and then 1 here, and then 1 here, and 2 here. You know, you just made a complete mess of the situation. You know, and I've seen it. I've seen dealers do this, and it makes a hand that could have been 2 seconds into 2 hours, as people have to reconstruct to try to figure out what the heck is going on, right? So don't do that, okay? If they're all in, all in, all in, all in, there's no more action. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. Just run the board. Flop, turn, river, show, okay? A lot of times, the person with the most chips is going to win, and you don't do anything. You just scoop it all to them, okay? Sometimes the medium stack is going to win. In that case, you take 2 from everybody, 2, 2, and anybody that's less, which is this guy, okay? And whatever's in the pot, you push it to him, okay? And fold his hand, and then you go on to the next one. Who has the best hand? He has the best hand? Okay. There, you're done, okay? Don't make it more complicated than it has to be with side pots. It doesn't have to be complicated, okay? Now, sometimes there's still action, okay? Sometimes there's still action, for example, all right? Okay, you got the flop. Player 1 checks. He goes all in for 2. Okay. He calls, and he folds. Okay. Well, there's still action to be had, so you got to do side pots. You have no choice. So you can only win what's in front of you. So you take the 2, the 2, the 2, put it together. And the player is right here, right? So you make a little line to that player, and then you go to the flop, and then there's still action. He bets, he calls. All right, this was a side pot. This is a side pot, excuse me. Main pot. Flop it. Boom. Okay. They show first for the side pot. All right, he wins it. Boom. Muck his hand. Now he shows for the main. Now they're both in for the main. He wins it. Boom. That's it. Just remember these simple concepts with side pots, okay? If you got multiple people all in for side pots, but there's no more action, don't touch the chips. Leave them in front of the dealers and run it down, and then go from there. If the person with the biggest chips wins a pot, you don't have to do side pots. If a person with medium-sized chips wins a pot, then you take that amount from each player, push it to him, plus whatever's in the pot, kill his hand. Now go on to the next best hand. Do it that way. Okay, if the smallest stack wins the pot, then you just take that amount from each player plus whatever's in the pot, push it to him, kill his hand, go on to the next one. It's pretty. You can make it as simple or as complicated as you want. When I was in dealing school, we used to do these multiple times with 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 side pots. And I could tell you that in the 13 years I've been dealing, I don't think I ever had 6 side pots, maybe a couple 5s and a couple 4s. It's been like, I'd say at least 2 years since I had more than 3 side pots. So it's rare, but it does happen. But that's the way you do it. And that's side pots. All right, and the next trick that we're going to learn, this is number 2, is how to count Omaha pot limit, which is pretty simple. Once you understand the concept, it's not too hard. But if you don't play it a lot, if you don't deal it a lot, it could be a little tricky. But basically, if you just keep track of what's in the pot, 99 out of 100 the players are gonna help you out in making and figuring out what the pot is. Trust me, there's always a table captain at the table who will make sure you got that pot right. But if you want to be a dealer that knows he's right, okay, and you don't want to rely on your captains, which you shouldn't, it's a pretty simple concept. Let's forget for a moment the straddles. Let's forget about having a bring in, or if they average it, forget it. I'll just very simple concept on how to count these Omaha pots. All right, let's say for argument's sake, this is the pot, $5. Okay, this guy calls a 5. This guy calls a 5 in Omaha. Okay, this guy wants the pot. Okay, he goes pot. What's the pot, dealer? Right? What's the pot, dealer? All right, so this is the trick. This was the last bet, right? $5. He wants the pot. So he has to put in the call. Okay, that's the call. That's the raise. And then you count everything else. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Okay? So 25 is in the pot. So he makes it 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. He pushes in 25. All right. Now some people do 3 times. So what's 3 times? Well, 3 times is you cover the call, you cover the raise, and you cover the last bet, and then you count everything else. Okay. For me, it's easier to do the call, the raise, and then you count everything. But really, the trick is keep track of what's in the pot. All right. That's all. They get 4 cards instead of 2. It's played like Hold'em. There's a flop, a turn, a river, and they have to play 2 in their hand and 3 on the board. Okay, remember that. They always have to play 2 in the hand, 3 on the board, unlike Hold'em where you can play the whole board, 1 card or 2 cards or no cards. All right. The third, top 10 tricks to being a better, more efficient dealer. And this is extremely important as I drop it. Mints. Don't be a yuck mouth dealer. Make sure you got mints always, always, always. It'll go a long ways. Necessary item for a dealer. Get mints. Not necessarily these, but some sort of mints. The third important tip to being a better dealer is make the change during thinking time, not at the end. It saves a hell of a lot of time. For example, you're dealing 1-2 no limit Hold'em. You got a bunch of limpers all over the place, right? Call. Some people don't have white; they just throw in a 5. Call 5. You got 8 callers, okay, and about half of them have a red chip out. All right. You could have saved a lot of time just chipping it out as it goes around the table, but now you've waited till the end, and now you got to make all the change. So you got to grab this red, or grab 2 reds here, get 8 out of your rack, get 10 white out of your rack, give 2 back, and then you got to grab this red and move it over here, and blah 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 blah. It takes about, you're wasting about 15 10 to 15 seconds making change. All that could have been avoided by making the change as it goes around. Do it as long as it's a time saver. If it's not a time saver, then you wait. But it's all about a lot of dealing is about time. It's about time efficiency, and that's one little trick that you can do as you gain experience to just be faster. Speed is important. Accuracy is important too. Number 4, neatness counts except for the muck. Always keep the muck mucky. It drives me crazy. We got a dealer, I won't say his name, who's been dealing as long as I have, who keeps a nice, neat muck. You're not supposed to do that. The reason is it's a symbol. It's a trigger. People see it. They know it's a muck. It's messy. It's supposed to be messy. It's there next to the dealer. Everybody knows you toss your cards in face down to the muck. It goes to the muck. But you keep it nice and straight and even. It confuses people. It could be confusing. And a dealer's not supposed to do that. So keep the muck mucky. But when you're doing the burns, the flop, the turn, the river, keep it nice and neat. Straight line. Okay. And when you're burning, you burn the card underneath the other card. It's another pet peeve of mine. You're not burning. If you're putting on top of the burn cards, you're not. Hula, quiet. My dog. To burn the card, you're putting it underneath the card. Flop. Underneath, turn, underneath, river, not on top. The reason for the burn is to hide blemishes and marks on the cards. That's why you're burning cards. And burning the top card so that there's no shenanigans with the top card. It's a tradition. So if you're going to burn it right. Number 5 tip to be a better, more efficient dealer. Whether or not to call out the